So I want to talk about why your high performers are all of a sudden quiet and how that's on you as a leader. They're not burned out. They're not emotionally exhausted. They're just done explaining. They've tried to name the issue. They've tested their voice in spaces where it mattered really, and nothing changed, and so they adjusted. The silence from your best people is not loyalty. I want you to see it as information, to see it as data. It is data about safety. It is data about power. It's data about whether leadership is actually listening or if they're just managing optics. So this is the time for you to think about what type of leader you are. If we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Blair Tinker. I work with managers, executives, senior leaders, professionals across the board as far as how to navigate complexity, culture shifts, conflict, disengagement, challenges that don't always neatly show up on the dashboard that you're using to track this information. The work I do sits at the intersection of culture, humanity, and power. And the Tinker method isn't about vibes and motivation and tips. It's diagnostic. It's an interruption. It's a rebuild. So we diagnose what's actually happening beneath performance. We interrupt patterns that quietly erode trust. We rebuild systems where people don't have to choose between excellence and self-protection. They can have both. It is possible. So I want to give you some frameworks, some things to consider. One, the first reality is that high performers learn really fast. So they're not confused. They're highly observant. They're constantly testing three things. Can I speak here? Does it matter when I do? And is it worth the cost? When the answer to those questions keep coming back unclear, or they realize that it's unsafe, they adapt. They may not disengage right away, but they're conserving their energy. And that's really important for you to notice as a leader. The second reality is that professionalism can become an armor. It can stop being a value and start being a defense. So they still hit deadlines, they still look composed in meetings, but they stop offering ideas. They stop naming risks. They stop challenging decisions they can already see won't land well because it won't be received. From the outside, it looks like maturity. From the inside, it's strategic withdrawal, intentional or unintentional. And that impacts the organization, the work. This third reality is that leaders will often misread silence. And this is where leadership gets it wrong. Silence is mistaken for alignment. It's mistaken for consent. We've heard it before. It's a whole saying. Going even a step further, compliance gets mistaken for buy-in. That's information that you find to be valuable. Emotional restraint gets mistaken for health and healthy relationships and dynamics. Silence is often a rational response to an unsafe system. It's not a character flaw. People don't just stop caring because they're lazy. They stop because it stopped being safe to care. And that's where we can step in as a leader. If you've ever been surprised that a high performer has resigned, it's all of a sudden to you. Type missed in the comments because the signs were there. They just weren't very loud and you missed them. It happens to the best of us. I want to give a story. I have sat in more than enough exit interviews and I've heard people say nothing was really wrong. Even though they're leaving, they still say nothing was wrong. And leadership took that at face value. But what didn't get named were the 6 months of signals that happened before that moment. The ideas that stopped being offered, the meetings where they went quiet, the feedback became extremely vague. Tension, everyone felt, but no one addressed. They didn't leave because of the workload or a cultural fit. They left because leadership stopped listening. And they didn't notice when trust expired. Let that breathe for a moment. I want to ground this in faith without preaching to you because I'm not a preacher. It's not in my calling. Leadership is not about control. It is about stewardship. Stewardship requires listening before loss, not after the resignation email. In faith terms, we are called to tend what's been entrusted to us, and that is people, not just outcomes. Listening is a huge part of that responsibility. If you want to retain your best people without burning them out, without silencing them, we should connect. We should talk. This is not about engagement survey. It's not about bringing in a training that you'll never use again. What we're about is systems. It's teaching people what to do with their voice. When your highest performers go quiet, the issue isn't motivation, it's leadership conditions. And conditions can be changed. Get the help you need.